Welcome, everyone. Thanks for joining the Society for Clinical Research Sites for SCRS Talks. I'm Mike J., Director of Special Projects here at SCRS. And the Talk series allows our global impact partners to take a few minutes to address issues of industry concern. In this installment, we're going to have Deric Frost, the head of virtual pre-site at VirTrial, answer a few questions about virtual site monitoring. Before I get into that, I'll give Deric a chance to introduce himself right now.
Hi, Mike. Thank you so much for having me on today. We're always excited to speak with you and spend time with SCRS and the Global Partner Network. As you mentioned, my name is Deric Frost, and I'm the head of virtual pre-site at VirTrial, where we're focused on creating a novel concept referred to as virtual site monitoring, and excited to spend some time with you today on that.
All right, and we're looking forward to it. So we're going to discuss a rapidly growing need in the clinical trials industry, and that is that of remote access to research sites. Deric's going to speak specifically about a solution that VirTrial has pioneered called virtual site monitoring. And the solution blends telemedicine software with VirTrial's patent-pending video glasses technology to give sponsors and CROs remote virtual access to their research sites for everything from site selection through study closeout. So Deric, well, I've known about remote site monitoring for years, and in the industry, that's been a term that's been going around, and now VirTrial has brought the concept of virtual site monitoring to the market, and tell us what this is all about.
Yeah, it's a great question, and a timely one, certainly, and one that does cause sometimes a bit of confusion because folks haven't heard about virtual site monitoring yet, but they recognize what remote site monitoring is. So for us, virtual site monitoring is really the natural evolution of remote site monitoring. We believe the two need to work hand in hand to create that complete remote experience for monitors and sites. So remote monitoring, as we know, covers the content portion of what's happening at a study site really, really well. So document reviews, approvals, source data, e-binders, EDC, et cetera, et cetera. But it was never designed to address the visual aspect of touring a research site and interacting with staff and facilities remotely in real time. So we've created a secure way to reproduce that on-site visual experience virtually with CRCs wearing our HD video glasses, as you mentioned, and the monitors participating live from the comfort of wherever their laptop and internet connection is. Think of Zoom meets Google Glass, but configured specifically for clinical research.
Got it. And who would be seeing the biggest benefit from this in the industry?
Well, our primary users of the software and hardware are the monitors and site coordinators that are running studies at sites, but CROs and sponsors and the studies they manage are really the projects that we serve and our clients. Honestly, they all share some common benefits by adopting virtual site monitoring, and we're finding that each are finding some exclusive value propositions as well. So I'll just go through each for you here. For sponsors, today we know they need to regain valuable access to inaccessible sites, bring these studies back online in the face of COVID, and maintain ongoing study startup deadlines. And as we know, things continue to get backed up farther on that. And we seem to be the fastest way to help them do that. But soon they'll begin to notice how we're enabling real-time site QA like they've never seen before, and providing access to the overall progress of their sites that they'd like to interact with more often. So that's really the value that we see sponsors are getting from our solution. And CROs are finding their own ways through us to overcome today the travel restrictions that we have in front of us with sites. And honestly, quickly they realized that they could create differentiation from their competitors, which is always a top priority, and showing sponsors in the pipeline how they not only have an answer for COVID restrictions, but a plan to accelerate all of their site startup and monitoring in the future. So that tends to draw us into a lot of bid defenses. And, in long term for a CRO, honestly, it's all about faster study startup and retaining quality CRAs who might be feeling that, fatigue of travel. That point is really what we built virtual pre-site and virtual site monitoring around. And then, for the sites, and we hope that there's many sites who hear this, and we love them all. Today, it's really all about reducing the scheduling burden of, those monitoring visits is a big priority. Keeping their staff isolated from as many outsiders as possible. So, it's hard for them to bring monitors on site, and they need a different way. And a way to protect the forecasted revenue, honestly, associated with monitoring visits on the schedule. So, it's not, I don't believe that sites don't want to have monitors anywhere around. There's revenue associated with that for them, but they have to, they're at odds because they have to keep their, their patients and their staff safe. Really soon, though, we believe that virtual site monitoring will be recognized as a way for sites to protect themselves from this unknown of the siteless future, if you will, that concept that we've heard about for years. And hopefully, by now, at VirTrial, frankly, we don't participate in or believe in. So those are our really sponsors. CROs and sites have their own unique benefits.
And with sites and CRAs as the primary users of the product, what do you see, are you seeing a high level of acceptance at this point?
Well, the short answer is yes. But I'll give you a little bit of background into what I believe the why is there. The acceptance level is high, not because of any emergency need or any great desire to maybe participate in something innovative, but really the reason for a high level of acceptance is we relied directly on the input of CRCs and CRAs as we built the product. So the voice of both of those users was instilled inside of our product, the way that it works, long before we ever brought it to the public. And we talked with dozens of CRCs and CRAs and really got, oversight and observation of hands-on feedback from them using our product to validate the hypotheses we're building. Honestly, as should happen, as you could imagine, some things we had completely right and others we had, completely wrong. But we were disciplined enough to take that focus of being user tested and approved. And I think that's why we see such a high level of conversion of acceptance.
Right. And is this a response to COVID's site access crisis?
Great question. I'm glad you brought that up. I alluded to it a little bit earlier in one of the other questions, but it's not. COVID has certainly accelerated the adoption for virtual site monitoring and remote site monitoring, frankly. But it's not a response to COVID. To give you a quick history, around a year ago, at VirTrial, we started asking ourselves, okay, so why do we have to ship monitors around the world to conduct each and every startup and monitoring visit? Can't we find a faster and more efficient way to do this using technology and avoid some of the common pitfalls of trying to be on site constantly? Our answer to that at the time was virtual pre-site. That was kind of the original focus and name, that it would be all about study startup visits and site initiation visits. But further from there, the software and our patented hardware and playbooks that we use to support these monitors and sites is really what became today known as virtual site monitoring. COVID really just accentuated the need for sponsors and CROs and sites to create a remote monitoring strategy. And we had lots of fans when we brought it to market early on. I think we talked with you back then about it when we first released it, Mike, and but it's been interesting to see how many more fans we have since March of this year.
Yeah, it seems like a need that was just sitting there forever. So what can we expect next from virtual pre-site?
Well, we have a lot of projects right now that we're working on, a lot of studies. We're very thankful for that. And what you're going to see next is some of the proof, honestly. We made a promise to our industry when we brought this to market that we could do this faster, more efficiently, and even increase quality in many ways. So you're going to see some of those success stories coming up here pretty soon. We're excited for that. But we're still on a mission to, accelerate study startup and monitoring across the board. And we know that's going to require us to continue to be more innovative and constantly iterate the solution we have in market. And there's really 4 key areas where we're focused on innovation here for probably the next 18 months specifically. The first is something that you'll learn about hopefully soon, referred to as a site relationship management software. It'll be embedded in our software that we use, but it's basically a CRM type of functionality to help a monitor manage their entire crop of studies and sites more effectively in the communication they have there. Then number 2, we're really excited about this, our integration partnerships. So we recognized early on that we were going to need to integrate with CTMS, we were going to need to integrate with eTMF, et cetera, and we're starting to forge those partnerships. In fact, one that we're very, very excited about is with Florence Healthcare, and they're focused in the e-regulatory space, and I know that a lot of SCRS sites utilize their software and love it. We just had a webinar yesterday that I believe over 800 people signed up for. It was pretty amazing, and we were talking about that partnership and remote site access. So we'll do more and more of the integration partnerships as well. We're going to start to build kind of a voice of this new concept. So what does it mean to be a virtual monitor or a virtual CRA, and how does that change the dynamic of if I do it, for some of my time or all the way up to all of my time? And we'll start to build kind of a forum and a voice for people to speak through on that. Honestly, we'll learn from that a lot, of course, and then I think the industry will learn from that as well, really the hands-on experience. And then lastly, we'll always be judged by, the quality of the software and hardware that we bring to market. And we've got a lot of exciting enhancements and even new versions of our glasses technology that's coming to market that the way that we're approaching it, I think will rival many other industries as well and help put clinical research on the map for some really innovative things.
Well, Deric, thanks very much for just your explanation of all this and your time today.
Of course.
We always appreciate the work that we do with VirTrial and our relationship with them. And it was nice to meet you during the Oncology Summit earlier this year, and it would be nice to see you or anybody again at another conference.
That's right.
Yeah, maybe the next one we'll do this with the virtual pre-site setup.
That's right. Maybe we'll just ship hardware kits to everyone, and we'll do a virtual summit using our hardware and software. That would be fun. Not as much fun as seeing you in person, though. That's for sure.
Yeah. Well, thanks a lot. I'll close this out with just a couple comments here that we appreciate Deric's time and VirTrial's relationship for today's program. We appreciate everyone who checks out the SCRS Talk series. We look forward to having you join us for more great content. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to check out myscrs.org for more kinds of upcoming webinars and education and all the member benefits that we also offer. Speaking of websites, virtrial.com, virtrial.com. Make sure you register for upcoming webinars and discussions by visiting our Learning Campus as well as the SCRS Insight Journal. We publish that quarterly. For members, you can find that in the members section of our website. Thanks for listening, everyone, and we'll talk to all of you again very soon. Bye-bye.